Yeah, that's nice. It is the day. I tell you, I got here to the archery shop this morning at 9:30. I came in, and we don't open till 10. 10 o'clock, the doors opened. There were people everywhere. The phone was ringing off the hook. Everybody and their brother is wanting bows and arrows and crossbows and just crazy. It's Thursday.
When does turkey season start?
Soon.
Yeah.
April.
They want to get ready, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna call a meeting to order of Rotary on today. Ding, ding. So if you would join us in a prayer, and then the Pledge of Allegiance, and then the four-way test. Zach, please. Thank you.
All right, bow your heads with me, please. Paul, in his letter to the Ephesians, talks about unity. He says this: I, therefore, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. Lord, I find this verse especially relative to Rotary, because we all come with different callings to which we have been called, different vocations, but together, unified, we make a difference in this world. And we do it for the good of humanity. We do it in honor and service to you. So Lord, I pray that we can continue to do that through fundraising, through service, with our vocations and united as Rotarians. In your name I pray, amen.
Amen. And the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The thing we think, say, and do.
Is it the truth?
Is it
Fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, everybody. Welcome to all our guests and all our Rotarians. And just a couple things is that we'll have an update on the river dunk stuff here briefly by Zach and maybe a little bit of Ross. And if anybody's looking, it is coming on to our, Joel, correct me if I'm wrong, 75th anniversary for our Rotary Club, or is that the noon? The daybreak.
I think it's 70th, Randy.
70th? So Joel has a copy or an email of a past first 50 years of Hudson Rotary. It's an email, and if you guys wanted a piece, are we off? You can certainly ask for a request. It's kind of an interesting read. It's got pictures of everybody, including my uncle, a couple of Sam Carey, if you can recognize him when he looks so young. He's not here to defend himself, but I should. But John Potter's in there. It's a good little kind of a read. If you ask Joel, he'll send you hopefully an email of it. Thanks, Joel. And with that, we do have a raffle from Brian Evans today, and I'll let Ross continue on.
Welcome, Nooners. Oh, everybody's gone.
Where'd y'all go?
No, they're still
Oh, they're still there.
We see you.
Hello, Zoomers. Happy Bucks. Happy Bucks, anyone? Land?
All right.
Oh,
All right.
Very.
I don't know what Brian told you, but probably not too much. Our vacation went fairly well, good and bad, mostly rain, but we were happy we weren't up here with that cold you were in. And then I left my electronic reader behind, so I lost that. But otherwise, it went okay. So happy Buck for that. And I got my vaccine the first day I got back. So yay.
Oh, Kelly?
I have 5 happy bucks. I'm so happy that Joni is joining our team and helping us with our bookkeeping. And I just wanted to share how much I appreciate her and her hard work.
Your Honor? Kind of a happy but a poo-poo buck. I'm so sick of campaigning, I don't like it. But I do appreciate it, and I don't bring politics here much, but that's my poo-poo buck.
Couple of them. Yes, I feel like I've been giving happy bucks for Arizona for a while now, but finally I'm leaving Saturday for a week. Phoenix, Brewers spring training, hiking, Sedona. Looking forward to that. Forecast looks great, sunny and 75. The other happy buck was before that. Friday night, a group of friends and I are going to the Laurel Inn on our first of quarterly supper club tours of Wisconsin that we've decided to do in 2021 after being locked up. Chicken liver pate. See, that's what I need. That was worth the price of admission right there. Chicken liver pate. I'm in. I like that.
Anybody else in Zoom land? Nope. Anybody else in town, house? Okay, we're gonna have a raffle courtesy of Brian Evans. It's a gift certificate to San Pedro for $25, and he will mail it to whoever the winner is. So get out your dollars. How am I doing? Oh. All right, hang on. Okay, find my wallet. And the first number is a king, so a 10.
Oh, I got a 10.
What's a minute? A zero, right? What am I?
0, yep.
Zero, yep. 9.
Ah,
9.
okay.
2. Negatory on 2. President Randy, anybody out in Zoom land still in? No?
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Joni still in?
She wants to know what numbers you call.
Oh,
Oh,
0, 9, and 2.
Okay, I'm out.
Oh,
Thank you.
Randy. President Randy and his magic dollar. I didn't invite you all. Too bad. Thanks, Brian. Announcements. River Dunk. We think the website is working. We don't know for sure. We haven't had anybody sign up, so Zach's gonna give it a try today and sign a team up, and hopefully we'll have all the bugs worked out of it by then. Do you have anything else to add?
well, the only other thing I have to add, so, yeah, last week we got the note that it was up and running, so I got on, I started a team. Dr. Zach and his merry men raising money for merry meals. What are you laughing at, Isaac?
Thank you.
But I got to the point where I could donate, and I put in all the information, and it gave me a system error. I could not donate. And so we sent them an email. Apparently it's fixed. I'll get on today and try again. But I've been noodling. What are we gonna do? There's no snow.
We're losing our cold weather.
Yeah, but in Wisconsin, this is what I thought. In Wisconsin, the air can be warm, but the water is still cold. And so we can still do a cold water challenge. These teams just need to find a beach or something where there's some exposed water and safety, but we're putting it in their hands. So that can be a suggestion anyway, since snow angels and snow and ice related things are probably not going to work anymore.
There's always a sprinklers can come out now, right? Water hoses, sprinklers, all those
Great
kinds of items.
I like that. Maybe we just get the fire department involved and just
Hold everybody down.
dose it down.
Social distance, everybody. Any other announcements? Anybody have anything else to say for the goodness of Rotary? I'll turn it over to Mr. Isaac for the introduction of our speaker.
Our guest speaker today, Chris Libbey, enjoyed a 34-year career at 3M, retiring as a business development manager in 2007. He launched Friends of the Fairgrounds in 2007, the year he retired, and has a long history of youth leadership through his church and 4-H. In all his free time, he owns and operates a 75-acre farm. Here to share more about what's happening at the St. Croix County Fairgrounds is Chris Libbey.
Okay, I should be live, am I?
We hear you, Chris.
Okay, perfect. Well, first of all, it's great to be back, even if virtually. And Isaac, thank you so very much for allowing me to be virtual. As I shared with you, I'm in a bit more of a different mode with helping my wife out these days. So it's a lot easier for me to work from home than it is to be anyplace else. So are you able to show the notes that I sent to you, Isaac, to the people that are participating or not? Or have you sent it to them?
No, I can pull them up from my email here really quick.
It's not, I mean, it's not critical, but it would be helpful. Well, while he's getting that pulled up, I'm here to talk with you about Friends of St. Croix County Fairgrounds, the fairgrounds, 4-H, etc. So our fairgrounds has got a long history starting back in 1910. Prior to Friends, there was very limited new development on the fairgrounds. With the founding of Friends, with our focus on renovations for generations, in other words, the fairgrounds prior to our efforts was on a decline physically, not program wise, but physically it was definitely declining with old buildings that needed serious repairs and or lack of buildings. So Friends was formed for the purpose of providing the funding to allow renovations for not only our current 4-H members, but members for years to come, and as well as the citizens of St. Croix County. We've been very successful to date with 3 buildings erected and paid for, and our 4th project, the multi-species livestock building, was actually ready for the fair we didn't have last year. It's ready to go, or nearly ready to go, and certainly hopefully this year will be utilized for a fair. Our model has been, when we've identified a project, when the fair associations identified the projects they want to work on, our model is to raise half of the funds necessary and to then launch the building with the fair association borrowing the other half of the balance needed, and then the Friends of the Fairgrounds making a commitment to raise the funds to pay off the loan. Now, as any of you involved with nonprofits can imagine about where I was sitting at the beginning of last year when we had a loan payment and interest of $35,000 to be paid by December. And for a while there, no clear pathway to raising money. Fortunately, we were able to make an arrangement with Jody Close, who's the owner of Smith Auctions, to do charity auctions for us. And that has worked out extremely well. And so we got back on track financially. So we're in great shape that way. I'd also like to say that we've had great support from the ag community, from businesses, from civic groups, including the Hudson Rotary, and from foundations across the county. So those of you who have donated one way or another to help our fundraising efforts, a huge thank you to you. And also, obviously, a thank you to both Rotary groups in Hudson. Okay, just a few facts I think that are worthy of noting. The St. Croix County Fair is not just a youth fair. It really engages the entire county. And if you think about the citizenship of the counties right around somewhere between 85 and 90,000 people. We typically have 25,000 people showing up every year for our fair. That's a good percentage of our population. We also have a vibrant 4-H program, which I'll come back to in a couple of minutes. I would like to note, and this is interesting because from a fundraising standpoint, I've always said, why couldn't we have a gate charge? Well, the reason is the fair directors for years have taken the position that they want any citizen of St. Croix County, regardless of their economic status, to be able to come to the fair as much and as often as they would like to. Now, they might have to pack a lunch because if they're buying the food there, they could spend some serious money, but otherwise, it's essentially a free fair. There are a few paid events, but 95% of it is free. In terms of the fundraising, what have we accomplished? At the moment, we're approaching $900,000 raised, which is a huge step from where we were in 2007 when we got started. Again, big thank you for anybody that's helped us make that happen. A few comments about the 2021 dates, and I need to mention to you that I think all of these dates are subject to change, depending upon what unfolds with COVID. But based on what we know today, I think the fair is completely engaged with putting on some kind of an event, whether it's an event like we've known in the past or some kind of a modified event will remain to be seen. The rodeo is likewise on the agenda for August. And again, pending changes beyond our control will likely happen. Looking at the next page, Isaac, we do have some news that I'd like to share. First of all, 4-H is definitely alive and well in the county, and even though they haven't been able to have in-person meetings since COVID-19 started, except for very small groups, they're embracing virtual technology. It's worked well. They currently have 550 members, and their membership is down a bit from the year before, which is no great surprise. But nevertheless, it's continuing to be a strong program in the county. It is a family-centered program with the emphasis on youth leadership. It covers the ages from kindergarten to high school, which so let me just mention a couple things. As a former general leader of a 4-H club, what I always found very interesting is when we had 4-H meetings, and I've been to a number of them in recent years, and that's still true, is you go to a 4-H meeting and you have in the front of the room the youth that belong to 4-H. In the back of the room, oftentimes are their parents and their younger siblings who can't wait to get into 4-H. So as I say, it's truly a family affair. And I'll come back to why I think that's important in a second. The focus of the program today is morphed a bit. I'm sure many of you who may have come from agricultural backgrounds remember 4-H is basically an agriculturally centered program. Well, today its focuses on developing confident, competent youth, tomorrow's leaders. And interestingly enough, and I think I've mentioned this before when I've spoken to you, Tufts University has been doing a multi-year research project on the value of 4-H compared to other youth programs. And what they concluded is that youth that go through the 4-H program are more likely to be, significantly more likely to be engaged in community leadership as adults. They're significantly less likely to engage in poor social behavior. And young women who participate are much more likely to get into STEM types of activities as they move on to college. So it's really a great program, and it's alive and well. And actually, it is the largest youth program in the world. It's a global program, and it is the largest youth program. So And you might wonder, or I think my family occasionally asks me, why do I put so much time into this? It's because of the value that I see for youth in becoming tomorrow's leaders. And it's a sorely needed piece of what we do in this country to support our youth and make sure that they have the best foot forward as possible. Okay, I'd like to shift gears here. We do have a brand new project in Glenwood City, which is, all the papers have been signed, as far as I know, moving along. And that will be to build a safe room on the fairgrounds at the St. Croix County Fairgrounds. I was hesitating for a moment because all of a sudden things are changing on my screen here. The size of that shelter will be to provide protection for 300 people. That size is based on the number of youth that spend time overnight on the fairgrounds in a typical fair year, who are there with a few adult leaders, and if a storm brews, they got no place to go today. There's no place in Glenwood City for the residents to use as an appropriate shelter either. So this will be a great addition to the city. It is FEMA funded. FEMA will cover 90% of the construction costs for what they require for a storm shelter. The fair has come up with a list of things that they would like to see added. Any additions have to be funded by the fair or by the community. And so what the fair is asking for and wanting us to develop funds for is the addition of bathrooms and showers and air conditioning. And interestingly enough, this is a building that, as long as it can be converted into a storm shelter, and as I understand it, 10 minutes or less, it can be utilized during the fair. Now, what does that mean? It's going to provide a much needed space that would be air conditioned and allow people to get out of the heat, should make the fairgrounds that much more attractive to our senior citizens, myself included, as a place to get out of the heat and sit down for a while. So that's pretty much brings me to the end of my story today. I will tell you that our share being the fair to make these improvements is estimated to be between $150,000 and $200,000. This kind of construction is very expensive per square foot because it has to withstand 250-mile-an-hour winds. So we have some higher than maybe normal costs to provide these additions. We are starting to reach out to the community and around us and ask for some support. And so I'm sure over time, some of you who are engaged in businesses, I'm sure will be approaching you and say, hey, can you help us in some manner? So with that, brings me pretty close to the end of what I wanted to say today. Isaac, do you have that photo I sent you?
I do.
Can you pop that up?
Yep, let me get back on the sharing here. There it is. All right.
From the Glenwood City area. This is a calf that she was showing. And I'm popping this up because what this clearly shows is the bond between the youth that participate in these projects and their exhibit animals. And it's a remarkable thing. And it's another part of that becoming a responsible adult, when you have to be responsible for taking care of an animal and developing a trusting relationship with them. And that brings me to the end of my prepared comments. I'd be happy to share, to answer any questions that people might have.
Kara's got a question for you. Kara.
Yeah, it's not really a question. Thanks for the presentation. I just wanted to say that about 5 years ago, when I was serving on the county board, I had the privilege of being appointed as one of the liaisons between the county board and the fair organization. And the work that they do is amazing. The volunteers, the dedication to the fair to put on that event is just it's just really impressive and incredible. And so just kudos to you. I love the fair. It's a great place. So
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you for the comments.
Any other questions? Zoom line questions? Mary?
Yeah, if you have the money for the FEMA building, can you put Wi-Fi in there? I bet in a storm, people would really appreciate that too.
Well, we do have Wi-Fi on the fairgrounds now. We never had it
All
before.
right.
And, here's an interesting question. I told you it's up to 300 people. That's only a portion, obviously, the people who are on the fairgrounds during the day. The expectation is that, and it's working, we've already had to utilize it. The expectation is that the National Weather Service has a direct link to the management of the fair. Any major storms that are on their way, we're to get 2 hours notice. And then there's an effort to communicate, hey, there's a bad storm coming, you need to take shelter. And obviously, if there are a couple thousand people on the fairgrounds or more, they aren't going to fit into a building geared to shelter 300. So the idea is that you would make your personal decision to go home and get out of harm's way. That's basically the same way that, for example, that the Minnesota State Fair operates. They've got shelters, but nowhere near enough shelter for all the people that are on the fairgrounds. So their expectation is that if there's bad weather coming, people will make a good decision.
Great. You've got it covered.
Chris,
Any other questions?
you mentioned about using Smith Auction this year to help with some of your fundraising. I'm not familiar with what they're doing for you. What in particular have you been auctioning off? How have you utilized them?
Okay, so what it is some of the things that first of all, if you're not familiar with Smith Sales, it's primarily an agriculturally related sales organization, but they do firearms and they do all kinds of ag equipment and they do collectibles. Probably their bigger shortfall will be anything in the area of artwork. That's not a real hot seller through them. They have a pretty good following. And so the arrangement we had with them is that they would allow us to participate with clearly identified as to who we were and what the item, where the profits from the item were going in their routine auctions, plus a large percentage of the donations that we receive from the community are things like, well, for example, certificates that we've gotten from Hudson Floral, as an example, that those don't fit into the Smith Sales mode. Services don't fit into this Smith Sales mode unless they happen to be agricultural services. So we did a standalone event as well that was just our items, and that's what we'll be doing again this year. We'll be following that model again this year. Many of you maybe know that we used to do something called the Mayfair event and sale, and that was Mother's Day weekend. We'd love to do that sort of thing, but we don't know if we're going to be able to do it, and we have to do so much upfront work to get ready for that we just decided to stick with the Smith Sales program. What Jody Close has done for us is typically if you're selling something through Smith Sales, you have to pay a commission to have it sold. They waive that commission. And he has a particular interest in horses and things agricultural. So I think he has probably a love affair with the fair itself, and is happy to help us out in that manner.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No, well, we appreciate it, Chris. Thank you very much. You need anything, let us know, and vice versa.
Okay, well, as you guys know, I'm not bashful. And we are going to be doing some raffles later in the year. It might be something some of your membership might be interested in. I'll let you know, Isaac, or whoever at that point I need to speak with. And if it's appropriate, I'll participate. And I'm halfway there and being vaccinated right at the moment, and making, in the process, starting to make some arrangements so I can be away from home for periods of time. So I should be hopefully a little more flexible in the future. So, well, it was wonderful participating with you, and thank you all very much, and have a wonderful day.
Chris, we got one more
Thank you.
question.
One more. Chris, we have, I know we have a grant request in from you from last year, and I'll contact you and see if we need to alter that for this year for or just use the one that we have when we as a board meet on that this spring. Do you have a thought about that? And Randy, do you have a thought about that?
I'm assuming you want more money than the original request.
I know what I'm saying.
Well, I'd be happy to reframe that as the projects that we have. As I told Isaac, I recognize that many organizations like yours are focusing on food and shelter. And if that is the case, I completely understand and Friends completely understands. But if you thought that that building project in Glenwood City for a storm shelter would be very attractive, I'd love to ask for your support for it.
Zach McCabe will be in contact with you, Chris.
Okay, who would that be?
Zach McCabe, the guy
Okay,
that was
Zach.
just. He's our grant committee guy, so we'll, you guys will be in touch.
All right, perfect.
Thank you very much again. Clap, now you clap.
All right, have a great day, guys and women.
Thank Seeing none, we're adjourned, folks. Ding.